Have you fallen down the cottage industry rabbit hole yet? Well, if not, buckle up, Alice, and click on over to the description in the show notes and sign up. Then you can get ready for the most fun induction into the cult of all things yarn and fiber. This will include, but not limited to, free yarn, free ebooks, patterns, coupons, and much more. You don't want to miss out.
You are listening to Crime, Coffee, and Crafts, a podcast featuring two crafty besties who love true crime and a good cup of joe.
Hey, amateur sleuths. I'm Kristen.
And I'm Heidi. Welcome.
Welcome back to another episode.
Woo-hoo. What episode?
So happy to be here.
41, dudes.
Look at us
41.
go.
I know.
Look at us go.
On
That means 41 weeks.
Yikes. We're close to a year.
I know.
That's really exciting.
That is crazy.
Crazy.
I love it.
Yes.
So for all you listeners, thank you. And all you new listeners, thank you. We are looking forward to more and more.
Yes.
We like storytelling. It's really been good for me personally because
it's been good for me too. Well, not only because it's just something to do.
Right.
It's interesting.
Yeah.
We get to research shit, which challenges our brains.
Correct.
But also, we get to spend time together, which we never do.
It's awesome. I love it.
Yeah.
And Heidi keeps me in line.
It's true.
It's like she keeps me on track, even though I'm always behind. She always keeps me on track.
I just have to be like, you need to do this. That's how it feels when it's coming from me. I'm like, oh! And I don't want to be that way, but I know you require that.
No, I do require. Excuse me.
You require deadlines.
I do. I need deadlines because I am such a my brain won't allow
focus.
me to do the work before I need to.
Yes.
I can have 2 months to do something.
Yes.
And I will get to the last day and do all of the 2 months of work in that day. And that's just not a way to live, guys. I'm working on treatment for my brain right now, but it's a long process. It's horrid.
But it started.
Yeah. Mental health is important, guys. So I am now working on an ADHD diagnosis.
Yay!
Yeah. Hopefully, once we all get it worked out, I can do this stuff better. So, thank you for having patience.
Yes, it should. I mean, it should work. It's worked for most of the people I know who've recently been diagnosed, which I know everybody's like, oh, it's blah, blah, blah. They don't actually have it. They just are females, and females aren't allowed to have stuff like that, apparently.
Apparently not.
Until now.
Apparently, a lot of people don't get diagnosed until they're 40.
Yep.
Because all of a sudden life is overwhelming and you can't keep things straight and you can't mask anymore and you feel like a dumb failure but it's not. I mean, if I look back at all the things I've accomplished just even in the last 7 years, I've created an incredible life for myself and for my kids but I need some brain help.
At some point, as my doctor put it, your coping mechanisms just aren't working anymore. And that's
a good way to put it.
When she said that, I was like, fucking exactly how I feel.
Yeah.
I can't cope anymore. But
it's tough.
Yeah.
And it affects everything in life. And I don't want to affect my loved ones. I don't want to affect my work. But work has been hard, and my work already is hard.
Yeah.
And summertime, it gets busier and a little crazier. So,
well, yeah, because you're a tourist town, technically. So,
oh, it is. It is.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That sounds terrible.
The traffic, just fighting through traffic.
I'm just thinking of like back in San Diego, like during summer when I was really, really little in Mission Beach, like it would just be a shit show. And
and the bars at night, like I would never imagine being a cop out there.
Oh no. And like we know cops out there, and I just feel bad for them because like they have to put up with so much bullshit.
So much. So much.
Ugh.
Anyways,
we're
here for coffee.
All caught up, y'all. You're all caught up. All right. I do have coffee and I'm really excited. I already posted it to our Instagram because I'm in a group for one of the podcasts that I listen to, and we like have secrets. It's like a secret Santa, secret gifters.
Secret society.
Yeah. So like we do like secret gifting things. And so I got my summertime surprise box of gifts. And they sent me this coffee for Pride Month, which I think is super cool.
No, I like the heart.
That's and pretty. I know this isn't coming out in Pride Month, but I think every month should be Pride Month. But the brand is Collectivo. And it says pride, diversity, unity, inclusion, equity. So there you go. It's amazing. Yeah. And it's $1 for every bag sold goes to the Midwest Institute for Sexuality and Gender Diversity.
Cool.
That's awesome. But it's really good.
Yeah.
So
it tastes nice.
There's that. It's like extra special. And I remembered to actually use our beloved mug.
Yay.
And
it is my favorite.
Fancy shirt.
Love it. I do not have my shirt on today, but I always have the ever so beautiful sign that my friend Bill Davis made.
Yeah. Freaking amazing.
He makes anything. You give him a picture, he'll make it into a sign, a mat, a different kind of sign. He's just amazing with the wood and the resins and all that.
Hell yes. That's cool.
Yeah. He's at Harlequin Forest Works on Instagram.
Yes. He's he follows us, we follow him. Amazing.
Good dude.
Amazing. Are you ready?
Yes. Oh my gosh.
You guys.
So pretty.
Okay, so I finally broke down and dyed my own spinning fiber. And of course I had to do like rainbowy, but it's like, you know.
If you can't see it, guys, because you're listening and not on YouTube, Heidi has pictures up, but it is so pretty with the different colors that she arranged in there. It's just so pretty.
I was really excited about the orange because I specifically chose an orange that was more like a deeper shade, not like a in-your-face orange.
Right.
I didn't want Bengals orange. Sorry, Cincinnati, but like I'm not a sports person and I'm not even from here. So anyway.
Yes.
I
get what you're saying. It's really pretty.
I love it.
It's pinks, orange, black, white.
And it's not just pink. It's like
it's vibrant.
It's a fluorescent fuchsia.
Yes.
I think is what it's called.
Nice. So. Well, job well done.
Thank y'all. All right. So you might want to hold on to something because this case kind of blows.
Hold on to your hats and glasses because this here's the wildest ride in the wilderness.
Please keep your hands and feet inside the car at all times. Okay. The Easter Sunday Massacre.
Ooh.
and his name is James Urban Ruppert. Trigger warnings: mass shooting, including children.
Yeah.
Gun violence, obviously, familicide. Yeah.
Taking out his family.
Yeah. Kind of a shit. I mean, really a shit, but also other things.
Right.
Okay, so James Urban Ruppert was a local man in my area, so local to where I live now.
Okay.
And I recently came across his case when I saw in the news that he had died.
Oh.
And like the headlines were kind of crazy.
It drew you in, is what you're saying?
Yeah. So this man was a murderer, but not just any kind of murderer. He murdered 11 of his family members.
Ugh.
11. And not just on any day. He killed them on, you probably guessed it because of the title,
Easter.
But before we get to that, let's talk about his growing up. So James was born on April 12th, 1934. And sources say he had a troubling life. His mother told him that she had wished he was a girl.
Oh no, one of these.
Yes, yeah.
And I'm sorry, guys, but parents, let's just support our children, okay?
Yeah.
Enough said.
just love them for who they are.
Just
and support
love them.
Yeah. That can obviously have a poor effect on one's mind, as you would think. James had an older brother named Leonard Jr., named for their father. And their father had a terrible temper, often violent. He also showed no affection toward his sons, which that's real fucked.
Yeah, unfortunately, it was the way people were back then. It's just, dad works and his hands off and not loving towards kids. And it was kind of a societal norm.
Yeah. It's sad.
Now we're having to break those boundaries.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah.
So their father died when they were just 12 and 14 years old.
Okay.
This left Leonard Jr. as the man of the house.
That is
the father figure, which
that's a lot of responsibility for us,
That's what happened. The next
she's back.
Okay, that was insane.
That was so weird.
Okay, I tried to hit
You're gonna have to cut out quite a bit.
Well, yeah, it's fine. So, yeah, sorry guys.
I did talk to the listeners while you were
That's okay. Maybe we'll just keep it in.
No.
Well, I mean, it could be fun. Holy cow, y'all, my power just went out. I don't know why.
You froze. It went eerily dark.
Really?
And you were frozen there, and then you just went away, and I was like, where'd Heidi go?
Oh my gosh. Anyway.
But it's okay. We sniffed roses while you were gone.
Hey, that's fun.
Yeah.
I think we should keep it in. I'm just saying. It's fun. Okay. Where was I? Okay.
He had just become the man of the house.
Yes.
Yeah.
So that used to happen a lot back then because
it was a societal norm.
It was a succession of age. Whoever was next in line.
Wasn't disturbing. It whoever was
the oldest
boy?
Well, yeah, the oldest boy.
Yeah. Which, patriarchy.
Yeah. Yeah. So Leonard picked on James incessantly, calling him weak all the time. And James grew tired of his life at home. So at 16 years old, James decided to run away. And sorry, trigger warning, attempted suicide. He attempted suicide by hanging with a bed sheet but it didn't work. And so he just went back home.
Okay.
So, yeah. So James grew to only be 5'5", 135 pounds. People considered him unremarkable, but nice. He was helpful and quiet, and he never had a police record.
Mm-hmm.
Even his attorney said he was one of the nicest people he had ever known.
Mm.
By 1975, James' brother Leonard had achieved the American dream.
Okay.
He had gotten a degree, had a great career. He had married one of James's ex-girlfriends and had 8 children.
Holy moly.
James, however, had dropped out of college after 2 years and still lived at home with his mom.
Yeah, that can have a lasting effect.
Y'all, still lived at home with his mom at 41 years old.
Mm.
Yeah. So he had never married, had no kids, and no career. He was definitely envious of his brother's life. And his mom was constantly getting on his case about not having a job and drinking too much.
Mm-hmm.
Which, I mean, yeah. And she had threatened to kick him out several times, but I guess she just couldn't bring herself to do it. Which, like, if she had, maybe his life would have been different, but I really doubt it because it sounds like he was already on the path that he was on.
Right, right.
And it was going to happen regardless. So he also owed his brother and his mom money. Apparently, he had lost all of his money in the stock market when it crashed in 1973-74.
Oof.
Right?
Yeah, that's
so
tough.
About a month or so before the murders, James had been looking into getting silencers for his guns while he was at the store buying ammo. And witnesses saw him practicing shooting his guns on March 29th, 1975, down on the banks of the Great Miami River in Hamilton, Ohio. And yes, this is the same place the cross-country killer came from, who I covered in a previous episode.
Yes, yeah.
I actually put in here, I wonder what's in the water there. I'm kidding, though. Sort of.
I mean, it is Ohio.
I mean, it is Ohio. Who knows? I don't drink the city water. I bathe in it. Okay.
Seeping in your pores.
It burns. Okay. Okay, so this evening, James's brother Leonard and his family spent the day at church for their Easter vigil. So this was on that Saturday, literally the day before Easter of 1975. That same night, James went down to the bar he went to every single day. He was a regular there. It's called the 19th Hole Cocktail Lounge. As far as I could find, doesn't exist anymore.
Was it attached to a golf course?
Maybe. I'm not really sure.
Because 19th hole.
I could not find
and
anything.
Watering hole.
Couldn't find anything at all. I mean, it was the 70s. Who knows? The golf course could be long gone.
Right.
Anyway, one of the employees there, named Wanda, had talked to James that night, and she stated that he had told her how he was sick of his mom being so demanding and that she had threatened to kick him out. He told her that he needed to solve the problem. Those words.
How are you solving the problem, James?
Yeah. At that time, nobody would have known which way he was planning to solve his problem. James left the bar for a bit around 11 p.m. before coming back. And Wanda asked him if he had solved his problem, to which he replied, no, not yet. James stayed at the bar until 2:30 a.m., which means we are now to the day of the killings.
Right.
So hold on to your seats. It's Easter Sunday, 1975. Families everywhere are headed to church or families' homes to celebrate together, have Easter egg hunts with the kids, eat lots of yummy foods, and spend quality time together. Sadly for this family, this day would be the absolute worst and most terrifying day in their lives. Leonard, his wife Alma, and their 8 children went to Grandma's house. James had stayed upstairs, sleeping off his long night of drinking.
Yeah, he was probably still drunk.
Mm-hmm. The rest of the family had their Easter egg hunt in the front yard. Fast forward to around 4 p.m. James is awake and getting ready to solve his problem. He proceeded to load his guns, a .357 Magnum, 2 .22 handguns, and a .22 rifle before he headed downstairs.
That's a lot of firing power.
Mm-hmm. His mother, her name was Charity. His mother, Charity, was preparing food and hanging out with Leonard and Alma in the kitchen. Most of the kids were playing. Yeah. That's like that's where we hang out.
That's where you hang out. You're helping make food and
right. And this is
the hangabout spot.
I need a much bigger kitchen.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, when I visit, that's a lot of where we hang out. If we're not in your podcast room, we're definitely in the kitchen or outside.
Exactly.
Yeah. Eventually we'll get that.
We'll get it. It'll be huge. So most of the kids were playing in the living room. From what I am understanding, a couple of them were in the kitchen as well, maybe like the older kids or something.
Mm-hmm.
But it's about to get really fucking sad. So if you want to skip ahead maybe a minute or two, do it. You don't get to, Kristen. Sorry.
I was going to say, can fast forward. I can't move through time, though.
Yeah. So James went to the kitchen first. He started by shooting his brother in the head, then his sister-in-law before his mom lunged at him and he shot her in the chest.
That had to have happened in seconds.
It was quick.
Yeah.
James proceeded to shoot 11-year-old David, 9-year-old Teresa, and 13-year-old Carol. Okay. There was blood everywhere by this point, and he wasn't even to the living room yet.
Right. That's only 6, too.
Yeah. So he turned into the living room before shooting each and every one of his nieces and nephews. 12-year-old Anne, 17-year-old Leonard III, 16-year-old Michael, 15-year-old Thomas, and 4-year-old John. Most of them were shot in the head and then shot once more to be sure that they were actually dead, which I am thankful for because at least it was quick.
Yeah, they didn't suffer.
But good grief. And this all seemed to happen so fucking fast. The only sign of any struggle was a flipped trash can.
Wow.
I know. So apparently the entire massacre only took about 5 minutes. I would guess it was probably less than that.
Yeah.
But James just hung out in the house for a few more hours before he even called the police and told them, quote, "There's been a shooting."
Wow.
Yeah. James waited for the authorities to arrive just inside the house. And here's what he said to the cops when they arrived. Quote, "My mother drove me crazy by always combing my hair, talked to me like I was a baby, and tried to make me into a homosexual.
Wow.
She wanted a girl." Very disturbing. The town of Hamilton was completely shook by this, obviously. I mean, that would be fucking terrifying.
Mm-hmm.
They had known the Ruppert family to be so nice, and they especially couldn't believe James had done this because to them, James just wasn't capable of violence. James was arrested and charged with 11 counts of aggravated homicide, which is now first-degree murder, I think. Yeah.
Yeah.
The Butler County prosecutor, John Holcomb, looked at the crime scene and stated that there was so much blood that it was dripping through the floor into the basement. Investigators found that James had fired 31 to 35 rounds, depending on where I looked.
Yeah.
All four of his guns were recovered at the house. Now, James's first trial was held in Hamilton, Ohio, which I found interesting because, like, normally with cases like this, they're not tried.
They're not tried in
them.
that area because of the sensationalization of it, and everybody's heard about it before jury selection.
Right.
So things would be biased and not give him a fair trial, which he clearly is the guilty party.
Right. Yeah.
But still, it's,
but I mean,
I'm surprised that they
maybe that wasn't like the way they did it back then initially.
Yeah, it was the 70s, right?
Yeah.
So, yeah.
So during this trial, the prosecutors told the court that James had planned to take his family's wealth, a whopping $300,000. And I did not compute how much that would be today, but it would be a lot if you want to look that up. 300,000. All he had to do was kill everyone and plead insanity. He planned to, quote, cure himself and get released. Then he would be free and rich.
Wow.
Yeah. Something wrong with him. So James was found guilty on 11 counts of murder by a panel of 3 judges and subsequently sentenced to life in prison. However, did you find it?
Yeah. So it would be 1.63 million.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
Crazy.
It would be a price increase of
That's a
443.3%.
Jeez.
Louise.
That's insanity. So, however, even though he was just sentenced to life in prison, his defense declared a mistrial due to the fact that he couldn't receive a fair trial in Hamilton, which, duh. So it was decided that they would have a retrial 125 miles away in Findlay, Ohio.
But it's still Ohio,
but it was the 70s. There's no social media.
True.
And
you have,
the news may have been more localized.
True.
Unless it was like a presidential thing.
Right.
Who knows? So the new trial started in June of 1975, and it didn't go great. The prosecutors had all of this eyewitness evidence. And remember, witnesses saw him trying to buy silencers, saw him practicing shooting, and that he had issues with his mother. In July of 1975, James was convicted and sentenced yet again to 11 life sentences to be served consecutively.
Wow.
Yeah. So any good attorney would do what his attorney did. Defense attorney Hugh D. Holbrook appealed his client's conviction. He was absolutely convinced that his client was insane. A new trial was granted in 1982. James's attorney paid for expert psychologists and psychiatrists from all over the country out of his own pocket.
Oh, wow.
And this partially paid off, which, like, I agree. This guy needs to be in, like, a mental, like, a hospital.
Oh, for sure. He was driven. I don't know. This could be a case of nurture versus nature, but
for sure.
I'm pretty sure that the way he grew up drove him insane.
Yes. Another 3-judge panel ruled that James was guilty on 2 counts of first-degree murder for his mother and his brother. But they found him not guilty for the rest of the murders by reason of insanity, which is interesting.
So he was sane for the mother and the brother, but then went crazy for the others.
It's pretty interesting. He got 1 life sentence for each count, again, to be served consecutively. And From the years 1972 to 1976, capital punishment had been suspended, which is the only reason James, I'm sure, didn't get the death penalty.
Right.
Because I can guarantee he would have been put to death. James was granted parole board hearings in 95, 2005, and again in 2015, but all of them were denied.
Mm-hmm.
And at the 2015 hearing, the Allen Oakwood Correctional Institution released this statement. The board has determined that the inmate is not suitable for release at this time. The inmate has not completed any recommended programming and does not appear to be willing to do so. The inmate's record notes negative institutional conduct. The inmate took the lives of multiple victims. There has been strong community objections to his release. The release of this inmate would not be in the best interest of justice.
Right.
I agree, but also insanity. Like, he should be getting help.
He shouldn't be sitting in a prison with no help.
So James's next parole board hearing was scheduled for 2025, but on June 4th, 2022, this year, just last month, at the ripe age of 88, James died of natural causes.
Dang, boy.
Yeah. All 11 of his victims are buried in the Arlington Memorial Gardens right here in Cincinnati.
Okay.
Or for you locals, Cincinnati.
Cincinnati.
Sorry. The house that this massacre happened in is still there, y'all.
Wow.
And
really?
it's still occupied.
People bought that house?
Dudes, yes.
Wow.
The house sat for a year before being opened up. Everything that was inside was auctioned off. And I can't fucking imagine buying anything from that. Holy shit.
Who came in and cleaned everything?
Just imagine the juju that's stuck to all of the belongings that were in there.
There's not enough sage.
No.
Not enough sage.
No, there's not enough.
That.
There's not enough, like, shamans out there. There's not enough anyone
not
that
enough
funds that
crystals.
shit.
No. Sorry.
So, yeah. Okay, now here's your answer. Whoever owned the house apparently cleaned it and recarpeted it.
Themselves.
Cleaned it, recarpeted it, then rented it out to a family who was not from there and didn't know what happened.
Talk about slumlord.
Woo. So anyway,
I mean,
family,
no offense if the person is actually a decent person, but that just gives me the.
But you would have to be a creeper asshole to not tell people.
To not tell people, hey, 11 people were massacred here.
Yeah, do you want to live in my murder house? Shit.
Unfortunately, a lot of people would jump on it and probably pay double.
Probably. So, those people didn't know a damn thing, but they moved out citing that they were hearing voices and unexplained sounds.
The children are trapped in there.
Yeah.
Their souls are trapped in there.
Can you imagine hearing children laughing?
I would hope they're laughing, but they're probably screaming and crying.
Can you imagine hearing them laughing?
No, that's creepy.
Anyway, like, especially like if you didn't have kids and you heard kids laughing.
You're like, the heck?
Oh yeah, I was watching. Sorry, but I'm about to go into Ghost Adventures. We were watching Ghost Adventures, and there was like a little kid laughing.
Oh.
Anyway, so other families have lived there, and it is still occupied today, as far as we know.
Is it a rental or is it people that bought it?
I think a rental, but maybe not. I don't know. The address can be found online, but I'm not going to mention it here because people live there. And, like,
yeah.
So I'd like
to it.
I just want everybody to just let them be. Leave them alone. Don't be such a creeper.
Maybe we will one day though, because it needs to go into our book.
Like, just do a drive-by.
Yeah. Do a drive-by picture. Pew, pew,
yeah.
Pew.
Exactly. So something creepy but lucky as fuck. Okay. The day before the massacre, A neighbor girl who was only 8 years old crossed the street and delivered an Easter basket to Mrs. Ruppert. Upon returning home, she told her dad that Mrs. Ruppert was excited they were coming to Easter dinner. Only a day later, the little girl's dad was watching as all of the bodies were being removed from the house that they were supposed to be having dinner at.
Oh,
and I just cannot imagine the possibilities. Feeling that
they would have been gone.
But like watching and feeling that feeling of like you could have been there.
Gives you a new,
your child could have been there. Like, oh my gosh. Anyway.
New sense of life.
That is my case. And sources. Wikipedia, because journalnews.com and Murderpedia. I like Murderpedia a lot, y'all. They don't have a lot of information on some people, though.
Right. And I don't think it's been updated since 2016.
Yeah.
So whoever was taking care of that page has dropped off.
Right.
But they put a lot of work into that.
Yeah.
A lot of work.
Yikes. All right.
Stripes.
For real, dude. All right.
Whoo.
All right. Go to our website, crimecoffeeandcrafts.com. Please.
Rate and review us.
Please.
And I think we will share some of our reviews on a post.
Yeah, we should.
I think we should. Another thing we should discuss.
Yes, we need to discuss stuff. But yeah. Rate, review, and tell your friends, because that's really where it's at. Like, share. Spread the love.
Sharing is caring.
Yes.
We love you. Please love us.
Yes. Until next time, ta-ta!
For now.
Thanks for listening to Crime, Coffee, and Crafts. If you love our podcast, please rate and review us on Apple Podcasts. This helps us more than you know. If you really love us and want to support us, go to our website at www.crimecoffeeandcrafts.com. From there, you can join our Patreon, shop our merch, and find us on social media.